Hi, I'm Jan from Sew It Online, and I'm going to review for you today the Janome Sewist 725S. Now we can compare this with other brands on our site to give you a clue of what it is all about, but I chose this one because it's got the good basic features. Now you might have already watched a video from me from one of the other machines, so I'm not going to start from the beginning. What I'm going to do is to tell you what's exceptional on this machine that isn't on the lower priced machine, and then I'll go through the whole thing for you. But if you're trying to follow me and watch different videos and figure out which one you want, I don't want you to listen to the first 10 minutes saying the exact same words. So let's start. Why is this exceptional? Why is this worth $150 more than another machine? Very, very simple. Number one, it has a needle threader built into it. So this is going to be the lowest price that you get to use a needle threader. Now watch what I'm going to do is to bring this down, and I slide it around here and slide it right up the needle, and it's going to take my needle through, my thread through for me. Now at my age, that's very, very, very important. A needle threader is one of the very important feature for me myself. So it just depends upon who you are and what that value is for you. So now what we're going to gain is more stitches across here. So what do I want the stitch quality to be? What do I want the reasoning for it? So what I'm gaining on here is a width knob. So before we would set our stitch with A, B, C, D, or E, or F, whatever, and then I would change my stitch length. Now I got a different dial here. So now I can get more variations. So let's just explain it to you that I'm going to go to H, which is a new stitch on this machine that isn't on any other machine lower than this price. But I'm going to go to H. Do you see how this is darker right here? Well, this darker method is going to mean I'm going to go over to super stretch. The dark here takes my stitch length to super stretch. The ones here without it means I can be variable on my stitch length. I like that because these stitches right here, you are going to use 90% of your sewing. So those are important features. But what we gained is a overcasting for wovens. So I showed you an overcasting stitch earlier on knits. So what this stitch is going to do is it's got my TriMotion. So TriMotion means it goes backwards, forwards, and sideways so it can stretch. So what it's doing, see how it's jumping backwards and forwards? That's the stitch you want. And what it's going to do for you is it's finished those stitches, okay? That ravels, that's the end of the raveling. 100% done with the raveling. So even through washings, but if you look here, that has given me my straight stitch also. So it's very much like a serger. Cool, huh? Very much like a serger where it finishes the edges. A serger is a machine that cuts it too. So you can cut it or you can trim off. A lot of your seam allowances are down to 1/4 inch now if you buy a commercial pattern because we have overcasting stitches like this to be able to use. So this one works best on knits. I have G that works best on this one works best on woven. Sorry about that. The other one works best on knits. So I've gained my overcasting for wovens. I've gained my needle threader. I've gained a couple stitches that we're going to use for couching, which means like if you wanted elastic and you wanted to make a casing, you can use them. Those are nice stitches also. And the other feature is that you're going to gain a one-step buttonhole. Now what a one-step buttonhole means is that I put the button right back here and the machine will zip around and do the buttonhole exactly for me. I'm going to snap off this foot. So this again is the lowest price I can get a one-step buttonhole. So I'm going to take this, look how much I can lift my presser foot up, and I'm going to reach in there and put it on. If you want to know the truth, it's the first time I've done this buttonhole on this machine, but they all work similar. In my A to Z class, I teach you how to do corded buttonholes, and we'll teach you how to sew on buttons and sew on hooks and eyes, snaps, everything, all done by machine. So all I have to do on this machine is move over to the lever that says it's got a picture of a buttonhole on it. Couldn't be easier. My width knob's going to be wide and my stitch length there's a picture right here now for doing a buttonhole here too. So all I'm going to have to do, oops, I think I should have brought this down. That tells me how long to make it. Come on forward. When it reaches that end, it's going to flip, which it's done. And come on down. And I've done my buttonhole, the perfect size for my button. Pretty cool, huh? Now you can adjust the length, you can adjust the width to make it wider, to make it closer together, but that's how easy it is, and my buttonhole, my button will fit right through there. So it's perfection. You say, oh, I don't do buttonholes. You're going to have this machine for 25 years. You might make shower curtains. You might do more. So don't give up something just because you think you aren't using it right now. So to go over it again, the main features, of course it has more features. It comes with a few more presser feet. Look how nice the open arm is. And then in here you can put your extra presser feet that come with the machine. That's an added bonus. That's this one. You've got the needle threader, which is important to me, the one-step buttonhole, the TriMotion overcasting stitch for wovens. Let's do the knit one in case you haven't saw that before. And I'm going to snap my feet off right back here. So no longer having to unscrew the shank and all that. So that will be a real bonus for you. So I'm going to lift up my presser foot again and snap that back down. Wasn't that easy? So that's a really nice thing. Along here on the plate, they have 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, 5/8 inch. They've got all the markings for me on this side. And for all you quilters out there, they're marked on this side. So you can see from a basic machine to this machine, those are an added feature that's costing you about $130. So you think it over if it's worth it for you. Now I'm going to go through basics so that if you've never watched me before, I want to go through the basics of the machines that you might not have heard of before. If you've already watched my first video, I'm going to go through the 7 basic stitches and the 3 quality features once more so everybody knows what to buy on a sewing machine. It's really hard, I think, to go out and buy something that you have to figure out and research and they all look the same and there's some are push button and some aren't. I just had to buy a refrigerator with my daughter moving into an apartment, and I helped her buy this refrigerator. I thought I was doing something smart. I told the guy, I don't want a throwaway refrigerator. I want something that parts can be replaced. And voila, a year later, the refrigerator broke and they told her to throw it away. So that is not what you're getting with any of our products. We do not carry anything like that. We know the differences, but I will warn you, it's out there on the internet. It's at the big box stores big time. So let's go over basics. What I want to show you first is what I always tell everyone is that you need 7 basic stitches and you need 3 quality features on a sewing machine. To go over them, what I want you to do is in the bobbin case area, we want to get a full rotary. You may have had a sewing machine or sewed on one back in the day, or they're still out there. They're $700 if you don't know what you're buying, but you put the bobbin case in and the hook goes back and forth like this. And you might have heard people complaining because you jam. So what I want you to get is the full rotary hook. That's what takes the thread from here, wraps it around the bobbin to make a stitch, okay? The hook does. It's a very important part, and you want to make sure it's metal. There's so many machines out there now that they make them plastic and make it a throwaway. So you want a metal full rotary hook. You want a solid state electronics. What solid state electronics is going to be is that, to me as a sewer, what it's going to do for me is it's going to sew right through my fabric, not 100 miles an hour. Have you ever sewed on a sewing machine and then you wanted to go through some denim and the machine went and you couldn't get through it? That's because you had a rheostat. There's only 2 choices. It's either a rheostat or solid state. Let me take you to solid state. It's affordable. So, same thing. There's only 2 types of hooks on the market, either an oscillator or a full rotary. Please get a full rotary, metal, okay? And you'll have a sewing machine for a long time. So what I want to do is to show you what TriMotion is all about on a knit fabric. What it's going to do is I'm going to finish my seam. I'm going to put this rib on. So whether you're doing athletic wear or whatever, fabrics give now, right? And so we have machines that give you stitches that will give with it. But the trick is it's got to pull back into shape. You might have found some clothing and it kind of rippled right out of shape on your collars, on your bands. Use the right stitch, it's not going to happen. So on this machine, I'm very lucky because I have a few more features. I'm going to go to G, up here in G. So all I have to do is to move it over to G, okay? Because I'm on the black up here, that means I want to go over to stitch, to stretch stitch. It doesn't, I don't have to think. It just does it for me because I just do what it tells me to do. Now up here is a width knob, which isn't on any of the lower price machines. And what the width knob means is if you were sewing on a lightweight knit, you might not need as wide of a stitch seam. You might want something narrower, and now I can adjust it very, very easily. So let me show you what TriMotion is going to do, what it's doing. Well, you can hear the power of the machine, can't you? Do you see how I got control, that I can go fast? The trick is that I can have control too. So there's many times with the solid state electronic foot control, you're going to have control either way. I can go one stitch at a time almost if I want to. Someone was just asking me the other day, I want a sewing machine that doesn't sew so fast, and they were going to use a treadle. Sewing machines now can adjust the foot controls. So what I'm doing here is I overcast it, but see how I stretched? Now watch, it's going to pull right back into shape. So there is my neckline. Nothing is pulled out of shape. Nothing. Stretch, pull right back into shape, sews absolutely perfectly, and it's going to give. You're going to use that for all your seams on a knit fabric. You're going to use this stitch. If you got a woven fabric and you go up to this machine, now you got a stitch that stops ravelings. So these two stitches, when I go down in my sewing room, are the two things that I'm going to use the most. So I think they're very, very, very important. I don't care if you're just mending. So it really makes a difference. It makes your life easier. You'll enjoy your sewing if you get yourself a piece of equipment that's going to work well. Okay, so let's see what else I forgot. So to go back to this one, my 7 stitches that I want you to get are called my overcasting for knits, my overcasting for wovens, my stretch straight. Let's go over that again. Stretch straight means I'm going to go up here to A. Okay, now let's do this. Let's slow down a minute. I'm on regular A, so I'm doing a straight stitch. Nothing new. There are 6 different sizes of double needles now you can use with this machine so that you can do the 2 rows of stitching at the same time. That's a lot of fun. You'll learn all about that in our A to Z class. I do it so you can put a hem up and put the double needle along there. They work out really, really well and very, very professional looking. Okay, so I'm on A and I'm doing a plain straight stitch. But before, if you remember, I'm A over here for a regular stitch. So now I want to go A over to stretch. So all I have to do is turn my dial over to SS and I'm ready. I'm done. Now what's it doing? It's going back 2, up 1, up 2, back 1, up 2, back 1, up 2, back 1. Can you see it? Can I slow it down? So what that's going to do for me is give me, first of all, I want you to see how precisioned it is, that it went back and forth over each stitch absolutely perfectly. That's what you're getting with a quality machine. You can only get this quality of a stitch with the quality features that I'm telling you to buy. So there's a lot of sewing machines on the market that might have 50 stitches in it. There's ones out there that's got 700 stitches on it. But if it doesn't have a full rotary hook and solid state electronic and universal pressure, the stitches don't come out nice. You're going to fight it. So getting yourself a quality machine is the first choice. Now we can add more and more and more goodies. I'll show you another one that's going to add a little bit more fun to you. So again, on the Janome 725, it's a $599 machine. They've discounted it to $399 for you, and it's a dream. It's a good one. It's going to give you a little bit more than basic, but not a lot more than you need. I think this stitch right here that's going to stop those ravelings is worth the money over a course of a year. So think it over for yourself. So the most important thing is that I want you to enjoy sewing. And I know with one of our products you're gonna. Be careful of the A to Z class. I teach it And I go through every tiny little thing you can do on a machine. And if you take it, or you're gifting this to someone, or getting a child into sewing, they like videos, listen to the videos as they're sewing. You're going to try different things. My goal always is to get you to use the product you buy. So we want you to get good results with it, but we want you to expand it. We don't want you to have something this nice and still do straight stitching and zigzagging. You've got cooler things on here that you're going to use in every single bit of sewing that you do. So enjoy your sewing. I hope you're thinking and dreaming of your next project, and let me know if we can help you. Thanks.